In this video, I'm going to walk through our process for how we improve local SEO rankings for clients all across the self-storage industry. I'm going to go through tools I use and an exact checklist that we use to make sure we're doing everything possible to give us the best chance of ranking. And really at the end of the day, rankings are important, but we want to make sure we're also measuring what actually matters for business results, which are always going to be some type of conversion. For self-storage, really the conversion we care about, there's really two. One of them is an online rental. So to get a user to come from organic search, click the rent now button and pay for a unit. The other is a phone call. And then to have our call team close that person and get them to rent the unit over the phone. That's really what we're driving towards. So rankings can help facilitate that because we need to rank in order to get traffic. And then once we get traffic, we need to convert that traffic. But it's important not to lose sight of that rankings are just a small piece of what we're doing. We really want to make sure we're driving that business result. So with that being said, we're going to get into our process for how we rank our local SEO clients. Now we have this checklist, and I'm working on a newer version that we're going to release. This is still up to date, but we've added a couple new things that I'll cover today. So really what we do first is we like to set up tracking first. Before we start making changes and trying to improve tracking, we want to make sure we're tracking local rankings in the maps, organic rankings, and we have Google Analytics, we have conversion tracking set up. So we're not going to do a deep dive on tracking today, but it's very important to get that set up first, because then when you go to make changes, if you don't have tracking, you're not really going to know if your rankings are improving. And then you're not also going to know what tactics are working. So you can use any local SEO tool that you like. There's a lot of them out there, but in SE ranking, we're going to go to their local marketing section, and we're going to do this analysis for this storage facility called 159 Self-Storage. So in this tool, I can just see some overall data here on how my rankings are trending. I have a local SEO score, and it'll give me some issues and recommendations as well. But for today's purposes, we're going to look more at rankings in particular. So there is a local rankings tool that we're going to check out. Ideally, this would be one of the first things you set up before you implement any changes. What I like about this dashboard too, it also pulls in metrics from your Google business profile, which are normally pretty hidden. And a lot of people forget to check these. But if we go to local rankings, I've set this up already for a variety of keywords here. So you'll see storage units in Navasota, boat storage, RV storage, and then it'll show me my ranking grid on where I'm actually ranking in the map listings. There's change over time. There's a few different metrics here, but this is one of the most important things to set up because we want to know how we're doing in the maps. Now, let's take a look at this keyword here. So if we look at it, so we're actually not ranking at the time of me doing this search. But what we're looking at here is where we rank in this map space. With SEO and for local SEO, we could really rank twice at a minimum. We could rank in the maps, and then we could rank again here in the organic. And that's really the goal. The next layer to that is also to get listed on top ranking directories. Like we could see this one here, 30 best storage units in Navasota. If we're not on this, we want to be on there because now we essentially have another listing on the first page. There's no people also ask question. I don't see any other SERP features here. So realistically, we can show up here, which we are. We should look into this directory and making sure we're featured here, which we may not be. Yeah, looking at this, we're not. So this would be an opportunity for us to just have another placement. And then there's another directory here that's actually going to an individual facility. So we might want to check that out and see if we could also do that. But we're going to cover the maps and organic here. So to start with the maps, so if we have the tracking, again, I can pick an individual keyword. Here we can see how I'm doing for that keyword. What I like about this, it actually shows when I'm in these different radiuses around the facility or around my location. Right now I'm searching in New York, so I'm not close to this facility, so my search results are going to be different. So I like running these tools and running them over time just to get some baseline ranking data. Now you can look at previous reports when you ran these. So if we go back here, and then we could see what that grid looked like on that date. I think my earliest scan in here might be April. Let's see. Yeah, so we can see actually I've lost a little ground. You can see there was a little bit more green back here. And we've actually seen a little bit of a downtrend. But having this there is really important to understanding that. So that's one of the first things I like to do. And then you could also set up just traditional keyword rank tracking. So if we go to the project section, what I like to do here, and I'm going to click keywords, and then click here again. And this is going to take me to my keyword ranking report. So what this one is doing, this one is tracking my rankings here. And you can see July 6th and July 7th, the change each day for each individual keyword in the regular organic results. So now I have both spots tracked. I'm tracking the maps and I'm also tracking the organic here. So really step one of improving is just knowing where you are and tracking. What I like about this, it also gives me a content score for each of how my page is scored. It gives me some of the SERP features that are on the page and just a good snapshot of data here. So once you have your data, the first thing we're going to do is a complete Google Business Profile cleanup. So I'm going to cover the highlights. I have a full Google Business Profile audit checklist video where I go through this in depth. Biggest things are make sure your categories are right. You want to have the right primary category and the right additional secondary categories. And if you're not really sure, you can look at what the top ranking results have and check. So here we can see their self-storage facility. These guys have storage facility and their self-storage facility. So I would do an audit of the top 10 and see what are the majority using for their categories. It's just a quick way to gauge what yours should be if you don't know. Then really you want to do media. So photos and video. Do we have enough? And then what's the frequency? That's where I think some people miss is they just look and see that, okay, there's 30 photos and 5 videos. That's enough. We also like to look at the date of the last photo or video. We don't always have to do every 2 months. Sometimes we'll do quarterly. For some businesses, we'll do a couple times a year. But the important thing is you should be regularly updating media on your Google Business Profile. And that's what we're looking for here. Then just go through all the admin and settings. So in the settings screen, just go down the list and fill in everything. Fill in a description. This description could probably be improved, could be a little more in depth. I like putting the opening date because then it'll show how many years in business you've been. Phone number, the chat here. We're not using this, but because we don't want to have to answer and respond to these text messages for this individual facility. But in general, it would be something I would recommend. The more you use, the better. I like to add some UTM links to the website URL. That way I can track it. Social profiles. Make sure your pin is actually correct. Sometimes it'll be a little bit off. Really, and again, really just fill in everything. This facility has 24-hour access. Normally what we would do is we would have like the hours that the phone's answered, and then we would add additional hours for access. So you can actually see there's additional hours types you can add. And then really you'll go through the settings. Anything that's relevant, fill it in. Then when we get to this screen, there's some more things we can do. So we did the profile settings. You could use the posting feature. I like to do a few of these per month. We're not going to cover this feature in depth, but the main thing is make sure you're doing just a few per month. Again, it's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. Does it actually help rankings? Probably not, but again, it does make what it could do sometimes is help conversions because it makes your profile look a little more built out. So again, minor. I really like the product feature for self-storage. We want to add all of our individual units as products with pricing and everything. So someone can see and get all the information right on the Google Business Profile. And then we could add product categories on the different types of storage we offer. Again, Q&As. I like to set Q&As that people are going to ask before converting. Any frequently asked question, put it on there and answer it. Services, if those are relevant, put in some services and some copy. You'll see Google often has predefined services, which are these. If any of these are relevant, I recommend using them. We don't have climate control, but if we did, I would want to select this and write a description. Booking URL, I like to use this as well. I like to put just the page someone can rent a storage unit on directly on this booking URL. If you're a company that uses like Calendly or meeting tools or a home services business that has a booking tool, put that there and someone can book directly on your profile. And then really after that, it's really just getting as many reviews as you can. And then the consistency in which you get those reviews. It's better to get consistent reviews over time, in my opinion, than just doing it for 1 month and then getting a bunch more, but not doing it consistently. If you think about reviews from Google standpoint as well, it's one of the main ways Google knows you're a real business and you're actually doing business in that area and have customers. If you have customers, you should be getting regular reviews. So I always recommend doing as many as you can there and really making that a part of your core business process. And then I would look through these as well. Google gives some more recommendations here, and then just fill in as many of these that are relevant. And that's really going to get you really far. And that covers a lot of the Google business work. Then we get to reviews. We spoke about that, but getting as many as you can, responding to all the reviews is the main thing. We have citations. So citations are going to be directory profiles. The more of those you have and the more consistent they are, sort of the more Google trusts your business info. Not as important as it used to be, but it's still something we do, and it still has some value. So I really recommend using tools. If we go to SEO ranking here in the local marketing, we'll go to business listings, which is their citation tool. We used to do this manually. If we go to like this, we would go to all these different directories and fill in profiles and do this all manually. There's a lot of companies that make it a lot easier now. So I recommend, again, there's a bunch of them, but if you use SE ranking, they have an auto syncing feature, which basically pushes your business info onto all these different directories. I can see which ones are listed, which ones are live. I just reran this. So some of these are updating and syncing. I can see which ones have issues that I'm like on this one. I can see the address is incorrect and my URL is incorrect. So I'm going to want to go into this profile and fix that. So that's the advantage of using these tools. This is just really tedious work. So if you can use a software or a tool to do it, I recommend that in most cases. Again, if you don't have the budget to do that, just do it manually. You can go to each of these websites. You can build a citation manually. There's other services that'll do this for you. But the main thing is you want to have, I like to say as many as competitors and more of at least as many of the high quality ones as possible. So that's kind of the citation work. And then we get to link building and on page. Both of these are really important. Link building sometimes gets overlooked for local because you don't always need to do it. If you're in a really weak area and your competition's terrible, you may not have to do much link building work. I still recommend it because you're sort of building a moat around your business and in this advantage that other competitors, if they start investing more in SEO, they're going to just be further behind. The more link building work you do, the bigger of a lead you're building, and you're going to make it harder for those competitors that you may have now or the competitors that may come in the future to outrank you. So I always recommend doing link building work. But again, you don't always have to, depending on how competitive or not competitive your market is. Main things you want to look for is at a high level, just what your domain rating is compared to competitors. Then you really want to go page by page and keyword by keyword. What I like to do at the keyword level, if we go to the keyword research tool here, what we're going to do, I'm going to do a more competitive one. We'll do storage units in College Station, and we'll take a look at this keyword. This is going to give me a bunch of data here on this keyword. Really, the main thing I'm looking for is the SERP overview report. And this is going to tell me who the top 10 ranking websites are, and then how many backlinks they have over here. So how many referring domains, which are unique websites, and backlinks. One unique website can backlink or link to you multiple times. That's the difference. And I can see exactly which ones they have. So if I click into this, I can then go and see who are the exact 5 websites linking to this competitor. And that's going to allow me to understand how many backlinks I might need. And I can even get some ideas on where to build them. So it looks like a lot of directories here. So again, at a keyword level, I want to look at what the average domain ratings are and then how many backlinks they're building to individual pages. The next step to this is to also look at anchor text. And when you look at anchor text, we can see this one says visit property website. You want to look for like what percentage of target keywords are people using in anchor text. This one, it looks like the competition isn't as sophisticated, so no one's doing that. But sometimes you'll see it's competitive and people are being aggressive, or they might have a certain ratio that you want to look at. So audit that, and link building is going to be one of the things you do on a monthly basis. Google Business Cleanup is more of a one-time thing. And then after that, you want to add media to the page, add some content as well as often as you can, and then really focus on reviews. Citations, I tend to like to do upfront as well. And then sometimes we'll do some monthly as needed. Link building is really going to be a core monthly activity. And then on-page SEO is going to be really important. Really what you want to look for there is kind of the biggest impact thing I see for local SEO is just the basics, title tags and meta descriptions. If you look at this one, even though we're ranking 3rd, I know we're getting a really high click-through rate and probably even higher than, potentially even higher than 1 and 2. If you look at theirs, it says home, they haven't done any work on this. Ours says we'll beat any price. It has the target keyword in there. So just with this will beat any price, we're getting a lot of clicks from that copy. And that's really what I look for there. Is the target keyword in it? And do I have something compelling to get clicks? And you want to be testing that as well. So I always mark, are we doing title and meta testing? And we look at that as well. You can also, it looks like this listing doesn't have it. Let's see if any of ours do. You could also get your star rating to show up in search results. It's a small thing. Yeah, you'll see this one has it. With a little bit of technical SEO, you can do that. We're using a plugin actually called ElfSite. It basically pulls this widget in that automatically pulls in our Google Business reviews. And then it has the code in this plugin to get me that star rating. So it makes it really simple to do this, but I like to make sure I have that installed. Then really the rest of this is like thinking about the structure of the page. When I look at page structure on SEO here, what I'm looking at is less from an SEO standpoint and more from a conversion standpoint. In this case, to rent storage units, do I have everything on this page that would help somebody rent? And that's the lens I think about versus like, instead of trying to stuff keywords or doing SEO tactics, it's do I have all the info? So I have address, business info, hours, photos. I have prices, the ability to rent units, a discount. Then I have social proof with my reviews. I'm not making someone click the back button to go find my reviews. They can get them right here. I have a little why choose us, what makes us different, some FAQs, and then the Google map at the bottom. And then we have our actual inventory here. So I'm giving someone everything they can possibly need before they click the rent button. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to improve rankings, but we really want to make sure conversions are improving. So by implementing all these things, you're going to see your local SEO rankings go up. It depends on your market. Sometimes it can be fast within a few weeks. In other markets, it might take a few months. And sometimes it could take longer than that if you're in a really competitive market and you have no brand presence. But the basics still work. Make sure your Google Business profile is built out. Do the citation work. Then just focus on reviews, backlinks, and make sure your core location pages are optimized properly. And that's going to get you 90% of the way there. So let me know in the comments below, what are some other tactics that I may have missed or didn't cover that you all are using to improve local SEO rankings?